Good morning, welcome to Natasha Makes. Is it Wednesday? I'm a little bit confused this week. I think it's Wednesday. Good morning, let's just say good morning. I think it's Wednesday, I think it's Workshop Wednesday. I'm all discombobulated because Jane did her show on Monday and it's thrown me completely. Oh good, there's a dog hair on my drink. So this morning, oh my goodness, do we have a packed show for you. We items so we have got for you all sorts of Tilda scrap bundles. Yes, they are back. It is the last, or basically we know new Tilda arrives next week, so we've got to clear out anything that is left. And we do this, we do this every time a new collection comes in. We clear out the last of the last stock and then we bring in the new. We have to, because my brain can't cope with having bits. Bits, it's nothing. Also, you asked me, it was on one of our member Zooms, you asked me for a Scrappy Log Cabin. I was explaining that when I first started quilting, I used to just cut up my scraps, get a scrap bag, just cut up all my scraps into whatever size strips I could muster, and then sort them into whatever width strips I had. And then I used to make Scrappy Log Cabin quilts. And they were beautiful because they were so random. And I would go through, various scraps. And I'll show you how we do them today. Now you can do them all with one designer fabric, in which case you're going to end up with something that looks like that. That's from some of the new capes. Again, with fabrics that I've had left over from samples that I've made. Like, right, okay, let's do that. Today we're going to work with Tilda scraps because we've got Tilda scraps on the show today. So we're going to work with Tilda scraps. And we're going to look at how we would start to do a Scrappy Log Cabin. And then we're going to use that fabric. You can keep this going. Emily's got cushions out of Scrappy Log Cabins that I've got. She's got quilts from them. And what it did was it taught me to sew straight. It just taught me to sew in a straight line, which was great. And that sounds so basic, but it put me off doing lots of other things because I didn't think I could sew in a straight line. Turned out actually it was my machine pulled to the left. Get a good machine, no problem. But we'll look at how you can combat that if you feel that you might have a machine that, the budget's not there to replace your machine, and how you can combat if you think that you've got a machine that pulls one way or the other. We'll look at that today as well. And we will look at Scrappy Log Cabin and then what to do with it. So yes, you can do cushions, you can do quilts, but also what about making it into your own fabric and then doing something like a Tea Cosy. So it's kind of two demos in one today. I've got a Tea Cosy in 4 different sizes because, yes, we've done Tea Cosys before, but it did also strike me that actually, curiously, they all come in different sizes. So 4 different size templates for your tea cups, for your tea pots rather, for your Tea Cosys. We're going to make one side out of a log cabin. We'll just do the other side plain and we'll make a Tea Cosy from our own original fabric that we've created today. So that's what we're going to look at doing today. I hope that works for you. Gosh, let's say hello to everybody before we get any further. We are recovering here from small person parties yesterday for the child that turned 6. And wow, I have to say, if anybody ever lives in the Midlands area and requires a children's party entertainer, Tanya, the Magical Unicorn, was amazing. Absolutely amazing. I didn't have to do anything. She came with everything. She came with prizes, gifts, everything. All I had to do was clear space for her. And she just dealt with it for 2 hours. I mean, hats off to her. Incredible. Just incredible. And she was still smiling at the end of it. I mean, wow. Just amazing. So that was all good. Nikki's here, good morning. Vanessa's here, good morning. Leslie's here. Oh, she's loved my jacket. I can't even remember where I got it from. Oh, I've had it for years. Joy's here, Cindy's here. Hello from a wet Yeovil, Australia. Oh, well, that's good to know that, you know, it gets wet in Australia too. Joe's here. Good morning, my lovely friends. Brenda's here. Good morning. Jane's here. Claire's here. Currently making a jelly roll rug from my Tilda long quarters. Claire, that is perfect. Karen's here. Hope everyone's well. Can I just say, these scrap bags are big, chunky, usable pieces of fabric. These are not little pieces. These were going to be long quarters. They're going to be half, like fat eighths. They're going to be big, big chunks. Very, very usable. Jan's here. Kirsty's here. Hope everyone is well. It's still currently dry over that away. Oh, grim weather. Jan, is it really that miserable in Cornwall? Is it? I'm glad I'm here. Jan, could you just order some nice weather for the weekend, though? That would be, if you could manage that for me, muster that up. That would be great. Hi, Dee. Nice of you to join us. Susan's here as well. Oh, first time catching us live. Well, good morning. Welcome and hello. Leanne's, good evening from Australia. Ali G's here. Morning, everyone. Frosty and sunny and Kapur. I don't know that I say that right, Ginny. I'm still not sure that I say that right. I'm going to have to... I've got a friend that's moving up to Scotland and I want to go and do a little Scottish tour, which I think would be lovely. Right, okay, so items on today's show. We have got, okay, so as I said, it's the last of the Tilda before the new Tilda comes in next week. So let's check out what we have here. Let's do an over the head shot if I can. Cooper. Yeah, it's not difficult. It was lovely in Cornwall yesterday, but windy this morning. Oh, Karen, whereabouts in that there Cornwall are you? Where are you? Where are you on that? Are you on Hollybobs? Are you on the Hollybobs? My thing is doing this thing again where it won't actually let me see what is going out. Right, I have one of these. This was from the last Tilda collection. Remember where we had all those incredible wovens? And this was like the springtime colourway. And I've got one left. This is a fat quarter bundle. I've got one left. We've reduced that down. We've taken so much money off it. I think it's sitting now at $59.99 for... How many were in there? Was it 16? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Yeah, 16. But how stunning are they? Ooh, yes. One of those left, that's it. I don't know why I've got one left. These kits for your butternut squashes, it's that time of year and I'm starting to, I've got a copper bowl that sits in my sitting room. It's in my sitting room now, it used to be in my hallway. It's in the sitting room and I make pumpkins and I'm going to add to it this year with a butternut squash from my butternut squash kit. That's from Tilda. There's your butternut squash patterns in there. I've got a handful of those left. We've also got Tilda scrap bags and we've also got our own scrap bags. And we've also got, so this is a new cork scrap and PU. And these aren't such big pieces. Oh, look, you've got some rainbow ones there from where we've done, well, maybe we've made up kits or we've done whatever, but you will have like little pieces of these. Now, these make great zip ends. You're going to have little bits or tabs or anything like that. But you've also got in some of these from where I've made samples, you've got backed cork. That's backed with the George Mendoza fabric, or you might have some of these. These, you've got usable bits in there. These are the bits that you make your tabs and those little extras that look fabulous in cork. So you've got all sorts in there. And these are coming in. Oh, you've got a nice big usable piece in there of the glitter in the blue. These are going to vary. All of our scrap bags are non-refundable, by the way. But then I think that's also coming in at like $5.99. So, you know, really, you get a lot of variety in there. So that is that scrap bundle. We have done today, if you would like, our normal fabric scrap bundles. So these come out of our scrap bins. And of course, each one varies depending on what we've been cutting. So in these, you've got some tapestry. Now, these make great lanyards. They make lovely lanyards. You've got some plains. You've got all sorts in here. my gosh, we haven't sold that for ages. There's some Kaufman. You get some plains, you get some different textures. There's some, oh, nice. So there's all sorts. It's 500 grams, but you can use those for various different projects. And you can either buy them individually or you can buy them and get today's pattern for free. So you've got a project to go with straight away. Every single one is different. It is a non-refundable product. That's all I can say. If you want to be guaranteed what you're going to get in terms of designer, then I would say go for the Tilda scrap bundles. If you want to have a go, then these are our normal scrap bundles. So they're going to have maybe some tapestry in. They're going to have maybe some of the William Morris stuff, some of the, I've just been cutting up a lot of the last of the Lisa Chandler. So some of those are going to have that in there. We've had the new Cafe in. We've finished with some of those bundles. So there's going to be some of the new Cafe in there. There's all sorts. And then, just as a little nice to have, these are our pretty tassel, 13 centimetre tassel and fob bundles. So if you are thinking of maybe doing some sort of wristlety thing, or a if you're going to be using your cork scrap to make lanyards, things like that, then I can highly recommend this bundle here. I think I've only got like 12 of these, but they're £9.99. You've got 4 different fobs in there. You've got those attachments there, and you've got 5 different tassels there. I love this. You've got the rainbow fob, you've got a rose gold, you've got a silver, and you've got a gunmetal one. And all of those are the same. I might, if I remember, I might use a tassel in my Tea Cosy today. That's what I quite fancy doing. And our Zip Lucky Dip bundles as well. We have got, I think, 20 Zip Lucky Dip bundles where you get a mix of full zips in, you know, like an 8-inch zip. See, there's all sorts in there this time. And then continuous zip pieces. They're offcuts where we've cut full meters, and then it's whatever's left. They go into scrap, or they've, you know, been used on a show or whatever. So we've got those on the show today as well. They are always incredible value for money and very, 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 very popular. So what are we going to start with today? Let's have a look at, if you've got your Stripology ruler, you're going to want to whip that out today. Oh, no, the other thing, 2 things. I used these on yesterday's show to put the tabs on my bag. And I said to you, look, these come in different length shanks, depending on how many layers you're going through, Styleville or whatever. So you've got sort of a small, medium and a large. They all screw in the same, so you get the same screws. There's 75 kits in there, 75 pieces rather in there. Yeah, there's 25 of each size basically. I loaded these yesterday. I've only got 6 of them, but if you want them, they are really, really, really useful, because then you've always got the right depth of Chicago screw. Like yesterday, I had exactly the right size to go through. I love that one. I really love that one. So yeah, so that works. And then that's my one. I'm going to put that away actually, so that I don't give someone an incomplete one. Let's get our Stripology rulers out. No, you don't have to use a Stripology ruler. If you don't have a Stripology ruler, it's okay. Don't worry, don't worry. I've got a few scraps kicking about. So I'm just going to take these and have a look at what I can cut these down into. And I'm looking for, well, here's the thing. So when you make your log cabin, it doesn't matter what width of strip you use, just be consistent with your width of strip. So let's say I want to do, I'm going to do 2.5. So I'm just going to work consistently with a 2.5. some of these. When I first got my stripology ruler, I used to find this so, just so therapeutic. Just sitting there, working my way through my scraps. Now, if you do larger quilts and things like that, then you might find that actually you want to use sort of jelly roll lengths, like a full 44-inch length, and you know that's fine too. Is my iron hot today? Yes, it is. Give them a quick press. So yeah, you might want to. My mic is rubbing a lot. I'll change my mic to there. There we go. I think I need to do star jumps or something when we do our sound check. And see just how much stuff is rubbing. Oh, I've got some pretty ones over here as well, and here. Oh no, these are lovely ones. Oh, I don't know, this is where you sort of sit and you go, this is where you realise that actually all of your Tilda fabrics work really beautifully together. I might do myself another little. With your stripology ruler, by the way, if I wanted to put all of these into 2.5-inch strips, then every time I see a square at the bottom, I'm just going to put my blade in and press and go away. And that's a very, very beautiful thing. That works an absolute treat. And then I know that I've got my scraps there. And then what I used to do when I used to go through my scrap box and just cut as many fabrics as I could, I'd then go, right, that isn't enough for 2.5, but I can, and if you want to do the 0 again, I can then do a 1.5-inch strip. And then that would go into proper scrap that would be used to stuff whatever projects needed stuffing, door stoppers, anything like that. And so then I would have a pile of my 1.5 and my 2.5-inch strips, and I would work it through there like that, and that worked for me. Have I already got that one? Have I got that one cut? Oh, no, I haven't, but I have got some here that I can use. Oh, I might get a nice long piece out of this. So I love doing both. I love doing completely random whatever is in my scrap type things, and I also like doing collections. So if I've got something like the new cave or something like Tilda, because I know that Tilda colours are going to go. That's the really beautiful thing about that, is that I just know they're going to go. So I'm going to put my stripology ruler on here. You don't have to use a stripology ruler. If you've got just a normal ruler, then that's going to work too. And I'm going to move that up a bit. Just cut my jaggedy ends off there, and then cut myself a couple of strips there. Now then, so we've got various bits and bobs now there. Let's have a strip of this as well. That's been used for something, I don't know what, but it's pretty, and we're gonna, crikey, that's not a scrap, that's a quilt backing. Well, I'm gonna have a little bit off the edge. I'm gonna have a bit. Oh, that's a winner. And if it's going to be too big to do that, you can always fold it down just going to need a little press. Just to try and get your get the most out of your fabrics there. And I'm going to keep those selvages as level as I can. What I really like about this make is that it just gives you permission to play. Nothing has to be straight, nothing has to be perfect. It is a very... It's going back to how quilts used to be. You quilted from what you had left over, from what you could find. And that's exactly what we're doing here. That's a mega fine, that is. I am happy with that. If I need any extras, then I can come back and add into that. So, let's take a look then at what we've got here. So I'm going to start with a square of fabric. You don't have to. If you want to do something that isn't going to end up square, then start with a strip. It doesn't matter then what length. You just keep adding until you're happy with it. So if we've got a favourite bit of fabric, well, we've got quite a lot of this, so we can start with a square of this and then pop it to one side. And you might find, like I've just taken a look at this and gone, oh, okay, this is where your little rulers are going to come into play. I want that to be nice and straight. And then I'm going to cut me a 2.5 inch square. There. But you can see I've had a bit of a curve out of that. So I'll take that, I'll cut that down into a smaller piece later. And then all I want to do with these is just make sure that my ends are straight-ish. I'm going to put that to one side. I'm going to start with that. So those ends all look straight. That's fine. That's fine. That's not that's not even remotely straight. So you just want to straighten off or remove any selvages or anything else that you might have going on. They've been used on a curve. And just sort through. I find this really, really, really satisfying. Really satisfying. And it doesn't matter that they're not all the same. Length, width, yes. Length, no. That sort of adds to it, I think. They're straight. And you can add some planes through if you want. They don't all have to be patterns. Again, that's entirely up to you. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to clear that out of the way for a start. Is my machine on? Yes, it is. I am going to... Oh! This is the other thing. The titanium blades. These are mine, kind of these. These are the titanium blades. The 10 packs of titanium coated blades. I managed to get some more. I couldn't hold it at that special intro price. That has had to go up a little bit. But bearing in mind that for a full titanium blade, you would pay over £11 for one blade, and you're getting 10 in there for £24.99. That is incredible. For under £2.50 a blade, and then you've always got something spare. That's the best value that I've found, and I'm very happy about that. I'm going to give that a quick squirt there. Okay, so Normally I have a great pile when I start doing this, and I'm just going to randomly pick one, pick another one, go right sides together, and this is why you want the edges straight-ish. And we're going to sew 1/4 inch down there. Then I'm going to pick up the top one, turn it over, pick another piece of fabric, match it on the ends, and again I'm going to sew down. So pull that so that it's right side facing up. Find my next piece of fabric, put it right sides together, and it doesn't matter if one is slightly longer than the other. You can take the time to trim it back or not, makes absolutely no difference. And just randomly, when I first started doing these, I mean, I had boxes and boxes and boxes of scraps, and they were so random. I'd have cave fabrics next to elephants, next to... I showed it once to Cave. I was like, look at this. This is just so silly, isn't it? He's like, but I love that. Because it was so random. All the different designers. It was a really, for me, it was very satisfying. I really loved it. Got some ends I haven't quite got straight there, but that's all good. Let's get some of that on the go. Oh, there's all sorts coming in here. I love it. And the thing is not to think. How often do we overthink everything? But it's just a matter of, as long as it's different, it's not the same colour, it's not the same piece, although that doesn't even matter either. I'm just going to pull it up and I'm going to pop it next to it. Don't even try and match colours or anything like that. It just, because what you'll find is that you'll get a really happy coincidence of colours coming through. And for me, that is lovely. And to have a project where you don't have to think. I don't know about you ladies, I'm an overthinker. And gents, I am an overthinker. I spend my life overthinking, planning, sorting, creating, coming up with new ideas, coming up with show plans. What are we going to do next? What are we going to do this week? Has Freddie outgrown his trousers? Where are Emily's shoes? What clubs have they got tonight? Like, my head does not stop. So if I can find a project that just lets me be mindful and not really think, and just sew 2 pieces of fabric next to each other, which is all I'm doing right now. Once I've cut them into strips, then I am so happy about that. You might want to do a posh one out of your Lisa Chandler bundles that I've just cut and I'm packing and sending out today. You might want to do all those things. Who knows? All I know is that for me, this really works in terms of just... And then, you know, if things go, they go. And if they don't, it doesn't matter. And having different lengths is another thing. It gives it all sorts of different variety. I just love it. There is, for someone that likes to be in control all the time, that's me, this gives me the opportunity to just not be. And I really like that. I really like that. So, yeah. I've nearly got these all sewn. You see, it doesn't really take long. So I used to do this when I was at Sewing Quarter, and we went up to 5 hours a day presenting back to back, and I was pregnant with Emily. It was a lot. It was a huge amount, and I used to be so tired when I came home. So I just used to just sit my sewing machine, and these strips, these great lengths of fabric, they'd sort of wind down the stairs. They'd be everywhere. They'd be all over the place, and I would just sit and methodically sew and sew and sew. And I've used, because you're basically creating your own fabrics. I've made my own bag fronts and done those out of scrappy ones. It's really beautiful. And if you're working from your own scraps, then presumably they're fabrics that you loved anyway. So it's really nice to see them in a scrappy form. All I'm doing now is cutting them apart. If you wish, you can press your seams to one side. I'm not really even going to worry about doing that, if I'm honest. Whee, that was a nice long piece. I also want to do a more structured one and ombre it with one of our collections, because once you start doing this, they do get a little bit addictive, and have the same length of all the fabrics sewn in one great long ombre strip. And then as I start getting more and more, you'll start with a real concentration of colour, and then as it gets bigger, those strips won't go as far, so it will naturally dissipate out. So I'm quite excited to try that as well. I've got all the projects in my head. Like, yes, that would be a good one. I'd like to do that. And so then, if you want to press, then you can. We can give it all a good press. And work our way through. I've been so busy sewing those. And again, it doesn't matter which way you press them. Whee! And then in a minute, we'll get going sewing. Here we are. Again, there's something quite mindful. And if you've got any folded bits, oh yeah, this bit here, it did have I had a bit of an edge. I had a selvage, so you had to come in and chop that. So let's find this end here. So how we're going to start, let's have a look at this. We're going to start with, there's 1 2.5 inch strip, and then we're going to start. Do you know what? Actually, let's just pop a new blade in here. I can't get that out. Whee! There it goes. That is long overdue. A new blade. I did my other rotary cutter the other day. And when you get these out, just bear in mind they are coated in oil. But they fit all your major brands. I'm pretty sure that I should have had where have I just lost the little bit that goes out of there? Is there not like a, oh, I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, we're going to start with, I feel like I'm missing a bit of my rotary cutter. We're going to put 2.5 inch squares right sides together, and then we are going to come across to the machine, and we're going, right, this is when having your little seam guides is great. I've got a big fat thick one here, but honestly this will work. I just put that at the end of my foot there so that I then know that I'm all lined up. And then we come here, press, and then we're going to start, and we're going to go across here like so. And if you sew this from the top, then you can just stop there, or if you want to get ahead, and you want to chop that, then you can. Now there's definitely a piece missing from my rotary cutter. That's annoying. I think when it just fled. And then again we come back here, and using the seam guide just allows you, when we get to doing larger strips, it's just going to allow you to keep that seam the same. So give that a little press and then come back. So we've gone 1, 2, 3, so we're going to come across here. And again, if you want to trim that in advance, you can, or actually if you don't want to trim it in advance, then just line it up there. And the thing is, you're going to keep to the same seam allowance, okay? So if you just sew off the end, then you can take it back to your desk there. You can line that up, and I would line up along your stitch line so that you are starting to get things. Yeah, that is not sounding like a happy rotary cutter. I've got a little bit there that I'm just going to take off. Use one that isn't going to crunch. And so you can see on your first go round, we're good. So we've done, that was my center, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to go from this point on, wherever you've got 2 seams there. Now I'm not taking into account part-way seams from where like we've joined a fabric or something. I'm looking at, that's the square, and then I've got 2 seams. If you turn it here, you've only got 1 seam. And if I turn it here, you've only got 1 seam. I'm always going to be covering the edge that has 2 seams. And that's just the easiest way that I can tell you to do this. You can put it on that way if you want. And then take it to a machine. And again, when I'm trimming, I'm lining up that seam allowance, not that seam allowance, the stitch line, and I'm trimming on there. I'm putting a little bit of heat set my seams, and then push back. So we're just going to keep repeating this so I can see now, like, where do I go to from here? Well, there's only one seam there. There's only one seam there. So I'm going to go across. There are 2 seams there. So I'm going to take this fabric here and go across there. Now I can sew that from the top, and it doesn't matter if my stitches run over, because again I'm going to be using the same seam allowance. I'm lining up my edges over here. But again, we've done 1 round. So if at this point you need to just trim anything up, keep it straight, then you can do. You don't have to, but just I would line up on my seam line. And then if you want to just, look, there was a little bit there that had gone a bit wonky, then you can just, at the end of every, then you can just keep that trim, like so. So then we're going to, and actually what I will also do is square off that end as well, just so that I'm starting with something that's nice and square too. So my 2 seam lines, I know that I'm going to be going across those like so. And to the sewing machine we go. Again, flip it, line up along your seam line, trim it back. And so we're going to just keep doing this for a minute until we get to the stage where we have got a big enough piece for our, we're going to do a tea. This is a 3-cup teapot here. We could do a smaller one if we need to, but I just wanted to get the effect, and we'll do plain on the back. So if you ever, again, I'm just looking at this going, gosh, where have I got to? Because don't take into account that seam. That was just a join on that edge. What I need to be looking at is that's 1 seam, that's 1 seam. Here are my 2 seams here. So I'm going to pop that on there. And we're going to sew that down. And we'll do that until we have a big enough, we've created a big enough piece of fabric. And again, for those of you that are using your own scraps, perfect. If you want this pattern coming in for free. And also, if you want to start ordering your new Tilda, oh my goodness, do take a look. Please do take a look at the new Tilda collection. It's available on pre-order. It comes in, the embargo gets lifted for us to actually ship from the 1st of October. So if you've got your orders in, you will be the first ones having your fabrics cut and posted out, which is very exciting. We have done them, as we always do, in long quarter increments in bundles, or you can buy them by the ½ metre. And what you can do then is, if you want a ½ metre of the bundles, you just put 2 increments in. We will cut it as a continuous length. You know that we will. You know that we will do that for you. And trim it back. I think we're probably just a little bit off, and we've got enough for the front of our Tea Cosy. There's nothing worse. My grandma had a word for tea that had Well, she used to, if I tell you the word, you'll know exactly what she means. And it's whammy. You know exactly what I mean. You know what whammy tea is, don't you? Just from that description, I know you know what whammy tea is. For me, Tilda lends itself to this so beautifully. Again, it depends what you want to make. When I did the Cafe one, it's striking, it's impactful, and really very, very lovely. And the beautiful thing about those is when I get a new cave collection, knowing what goes with what is, a lot of it happens by accident. I'll place something near it and be like, oh, actually that really works well. So that's why these are really joyful in the cave, because you know, you've had that happy accident of colour next to each other. With the Tilda, I love it because obviously Tilda works to such a pretty, pretty colour palette. And if I use up sort of my smaller pieces, you can start to see it's so pretty because we're looking at those ditsies and they're just really, really pretty. So again, let's take a look at where I'm at. That's my one seam. It's not that one. Here we go. That is my top tip for just keeping yourself in check. Where are my two end seams? There they are. Perfect. So again, we'll do another round there, and then we'll see where we're at then with that there teapot. Tea Cosy. I love my teapots. When I was married, my mother-in-law always used to give me John Lewis vouchers for birthday, Christmas, and there was a lovely designer called Pip Studio, and that started me off with teapots like that. And I just remember seeing it, and I'd just started falling in love with all the cave fabrics and starting to really understand them. And I just remember seeing that and going, oh, it's like a fabric. It's like a fabric in a teapot. And I was so excited. I really, really fell in love with it massively. And then I did a cave interview. Have you guys all caught up on that cave interview that I did on Monday? And so I bought out that very teapot. The lid's been smashed now by someone somewhere along the line because I do actually use them. And he was like, oh, this is amazing. And yeah, so I've always collected those teapots. Let's see, and you get into a little rhythm. And the nice thing about it is the bigger that it gets, obviously the less fiddly it is in terms of stop, trim, all that kind of stuff. So we'll see if we need another round yet or not. Jem has messaged me. I don't know if it's important. I'll take a look in a minute. It's looking so pretty, so pretty. That side. Let me just see. What do you want, Jamalala? Oh, YouTube. There we go. Hello, YouTubers. Cynthia's here. Greetings. Saturday was National Sew a Jelly Roll Day, and I made a Scrappy Log Cabin quilt on my jelly roll, and it's 90% finished. Yay me. Good job. Good job. Oh, dry but chilly in Cornwall. Thank you, Leslie. Bloodwind's with us again. Morning from a wet Devon. Yeah, it's that time of year, isn't it? I keep forgetting we're nearly October. We are nearly October. But I will be honest, when you've got horses, you just don't want the wet. Could do without it, if I'm being very honest. Could really do without it. Although none of mine are shod. Mine all live out as naturally as I can manage it, so at least I don't have to be one of these neurotic horse owners that are like, oh, how muddy is it? They can't go out. They'll lose a shoe. Nah, none of that. None of that. There we go. Let's give that a press. Oh, this is looking pretty. So just set the seam, then knock it back. Let's have a look at our template, shall we? And see where we're at with that. Ah, look at that. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. We possibly didn't need that last round there. Or if we want to do it this way, would that work? Yeah. So you now get to choose. Maybe you want to do both sides, Scrappy. It's entirely up to you, but we've created our own fabric here. And that's the really beautiful thing about this. So with this in mind, let's fold this in half. And with my template here. So it's then, how do I want this to be? Do I want that in the center? How do I want this to look? And only you can decide that, and that's absolutely fine. Ooh, decisions. Let's go there like that. So yeah, creating your very own fabric for your Tea Cosy. What an absolute winner. Beautiful. Now, Gemma and I had a full-on debate this morning about what I would use. I say full-on debate, that's not actually true at all. I went, do you think that it would work to have, and she said yes. And we debated the various, what's the word I want? Merits. That's it, the various merits of calico. I'm going to line my Tea Cosy in a very durable calico, which is super inexpensive, goes a very, very long way. I'm going to, that's going to be the outside. I've saved myself, look, a little navy. It's going to be like a Tommy Coop hat. So I've got to remember to actually add that into the bundle. Now, if I had the time, then I could always do myself another scrappy patchwork back for it. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to line it in calico because it's durable, hard wearing, winner. With this is the super wide, so you just get absolutely oodles and oodles of the stuff for really very not much money at all. So, in fact, let's fold it this way and then give that a little press. And then I'm going to interface it. Oh, that iron makes my nose run. I'm going to interface it with Insulbright. You can use it with your leftover wadding or anything you like, really. This is really not a very... Look, I'm being so naughty about this. I should have transferred this onto template plastic, shouldn't I, really? You can cut it out with your rotary cutter, you can cut it out with your scissors. It's up to you. I like calico in the kitchen. Backing your cushions, things like that in calico. It's really hard wearing and durable. And like I say, we've got the extra wide because we bought it in for aprons and things like that. Again, kitchen, isn't it? But I love calico with Tilda because I just think, look, like the colours together just work really prettily. So now I'm just going to do a plain back with this. When I say plain back, I mean I'm going to get a tilde fabric and cut it all out of the same colour. Have I got enough of that? We'll have a look, shall we? Please don't be horrified about how how completely wasteful I am being. Oh yeah, a proper template from proper template plastic is obviously a beautiful thing. I've done a tea cosy before, and when I did it before, I bound the edges and I did all sorts of stuff. This time, I've added in a seam allowance so that you don't have to do that. Let's give that a little press. That's fine. So back, front, and then let's do a couple of these. Insole Bright is blinking brilliant. We love it. We love it a lot. And you can hear it's got a little bit of a rustle to it. And that rustle is, there you can see there's like a foil inner. And what that does is it traps the heat or the cold in. So you can use it to keep things cool, or you can use it to keep things hot. It is up to you. There we go. Right. If you want to quilt it, then you can. You can clip that in place, pin that in place, or if you're like me and you love a bit of quilter's wash away tape, I'm just going to run a couple of lines of tape on here just to keep it in place. I don't know if you've ever actually used quilter's wash away tape for quilting. It's quite the revelation. So I'm just going to pop that onto there and fix that in place. We use it so often, don't we, for everything else. And then what we'll do, and we'll just do it on the one side. Just bear with me, my thing has gone. Am I mumbling today? I feel like I'm mumbling. Here we go. So we'll take the seam out. You can stitch in the ditch and just work your way around if you want. You can echo quilt. You can, you can just do straight edges if you wish. It's entirely up to you. I'll go to there. You can do whatever patterns you like. Or not, you don't have to at all. It's got to be the quickest quilting known to man. The other thing that you could do, you see that's just pulled in slightly there, is that you could quilt it and then trim it back if you want to do that. Right, so we are going to go, and actually what I will just do, there we go, is this. I like that, it's just. Trust my fabric more than I do. I went through 2 layers, didn't I, of Insulbright, because I was trying to do it quickly. Okay, so I'm going to go right sides together there. You can clip, pin, do whatever you want to for all of that. And we're going to sew around your 3 sides there. Now, before I forget, fold that in half there, and in between. You don't have to do this, this is just a silly little thing that I wanted to do, was put a little tassel in as I sew around. So decide what seam allowance I'm going to do it on. And then around we go. Just going to come off here because I can just see that that's not entirely equal. I should have taken more care cutting my template. But let's turn this through, shall we, and see where we've got to with this. Ha ha! Yes! With a little tassel to put it on, or take it off your teapot with. I will just trim that off because I've just gone slightly wibbly wonky there, but that's not the end of the world. That's pretty cute. I'm going to sew around here. Again, with that same seam allowance. And if you want to leave a turning through gap in the side there, then you can. But otherwise, well, you can do this either way. I might just, you've got to have it right sides together. As I've already turned this right sides, I'm going to just pop that in there. So we are right sides together. And then I'm simply going to sew around that edge. Okay. It's less bulky if you do it the other way, but I've already turned it around to have a look because I couldn't wait. That'll be me then. Slightly impatient. And all I'm doing is I just keep rearranging it so that I'm sewing a nice straight line. You can clip this, pin this. It's up to you. Those seams are matching up. That's all good. And it is, your lining is going to be ever so slightly smaller because you don't have all the interfacing to take into account. Trim away a little bit of excess there and turn through. I'm excited for this actually, really excited for this. Ah, lovely. So you can sew up your turning through gap. That's a thing that can happen straight away. Pop your lining inside. And then just top stitch around the bottom. Give it a good press. So get that seam. This is very sweet. This is very sweet. I like this. I like this a lot. And as you give yourself a press, just make sure that that seam is on the bottom, lying on the bottom line there, like so. And when you sew up your turning through gap, it helps if you actually sew up your turning through gap. You don't miss a bit at the bottom because you've done it in a hurry. This is nice. I like this. I like this a lot. And now I'm just going to sew around that base. Now you could do this in strips. Of course, you could do this just in straight strips, it's up to you. But there you have it, my friends. One very, very sweet little tea cozy with the tassely top, little nod there to Tommy Cooper, ready to go over your teapot. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have enjoyed the show. We've got butternut squashes. We've got one of these bundles left, unless it's already gone. We've got zip scrap bags, well, zip lucky dip bags. We've got our own fabric scrap bags. We have got Tilda scrap bags in 2 sizes, I do believe. And just need to eke that edge out. Yeah, just take a look. Brand new Tilda, take a look at that. Make sure that you're the first to receive it when it comes in. And otherwise, I will see you. I'll see you next week. Take care. Have a lovely rest of your week. Lots of love. Bye-bye.